Well, with our summer break now officially over, we're back. And we're back just in time to experience a bit of that election fever with the elections of the Barbados Cricket Association just around the corner and the number of candidates announcing themselves for various positions. But of course, most attention is being given to those who are vying for the position of president, since we've been informed that the standing president, Condé Riley, will not be seeking re-election. So there are a number of candidates out there. In fact, the educator, I almost said former educator, but I guess once an educator, always an educator, Jeff Broom. And then we've got the current Vice President, Calvin Hope, Henry Wallace, and Philo Wallace. And this Philo Wallace we're going to start with. I've been trying to catch up with the candidates over the past few days. I've been able to catch up with Philo Wallace, and let's hear what he has to say regarding his interests in vying for the position of president. Restoring greatness, building the future. That seems to be the motto of a man called Philo Wallace. And Philo Wallace, we talk about the cricketers playing with intent, Philo. But you know how you played when you were out in the middle, and it seems that you're bringing that intent now to administration. Tell us about your plans and your decision to vie for the presidency of the Barbados Cricket Association.
Hi, Philip. Thanks for having me on your program yet again. Yeah, restore, revitalize, reimagine Barbados cricket. Revitalize it. I think that is something that is a must. When you look at it over the years, not a lot has been happening in the positives of Barbados cricket. We will claim that we've done well at the junior levels, in the male and the females. We will claim that we've done well at the franchise system, but in being the franchise and the junior systems, not a lot has been happening. It's been dark. We need to find a way of reigniting the young people out of the youth systems, get them in cricket, keep them wanting to play, keep them ready for the franchise level when they are called upon. When you look at our systems in the clubs as well, Philip, the clubs are crying. They don't have enough facilities, which has been the case from the time I used to play. I think that the Barbados Cricket Association needs to pay more attention to the clubs, try to sit down with them and have discussions of what the BC is looking for, what the clubs are looking for, try to find the common ground that both entities can operate on. There's also another institution or institutions that are, to me, are being missed out by the Barbados Cricket Association, and that I think the schools need a lot of help. Gone are the days where you have, not going to be sexist, but you had a cricket master, and the cricket master will be a teacher, and he will play with boys along with a National Sports Council coach during the week. And on weekends, you will get a master playing with the boys. I don't think that happens as often now as it happened then. I think something of that kind of charter has to be put in place. You might not get a master playing, but you have to try and filter a code into some of the secondary schools or more, or all of them, and try to work with the young cricketers from there. We have to try to get our young cricketers into good habits from the primary schools, because the primary schools are taken care of by National Sports Council, and you want a seamless transition into secondary schools, and you have a structured system within the secondary schools so that you can build what has happened at the primary school level, and you can build it in onto the secondary school, into the national system, and up to the franchise level. And I think that is where most of the work has to be done in order to reignite, recognize, and get the structure of Barbados cricket right again.
Well, follow, we have been seeing at the West Indies level, let's say, where you have a president who's pretty much in the forefront, and I suppose it's fair to say you get the impression that he pretty much does what he sees fit and um is running the show. You get the impression sometimes that the directors sometimes are not even fully aware of some of the stuff that's going on. And that's not necessarily a new thing. Why do we mention that? Now, with the BCA, I know you're not running for Cricket West Indies presidency, so I no, I'm not getting confused. But with the BCA situation, are you satisfied that it's set up in such a way that you can influence these things? Because you've still got a board to convince, and that could be problematic. I know it is problematic in some other sports.
Yes, when you're looking at the BCA board, you have board of directors. You also have a vice president. So you have a secretary, treasurer, and the board of directors. Where you have to get the in from them. Obviously, it's a one man, one vote system within the BCA. And if you can get your mandates pushed through by vote, get the support of those directors to support what you want to do with Barbados cricket, and you get the yes to go ahead, then obviously it is up and running. And then the implementation is left to the office and supervision is left to the office. You have to get the buy-in from your board of directors, first of all, to let them really understand where you want to take Barbados cricket. It is not about someone coming in as a president and forcing what they want onto the board. The board has to have a clear vision, have to understand where the president wants to take the cricket, and they all have to buy into it. I know there are other areas within the BCA, the youth arm, the youth arm. You have the ladies section of the BCA as well, women's cricket, and the ideas will have to be coming forward as well at board meetings to get certain principles, policies, and structures in place with those levels of cricket as well, because you just don't want to be seen as going in one direction all the time with the clubs. Then we also have to incorporate the women's section, and also we have to focus heavily on the junior cricket programs within the BCA, how to get them stronger and better, get a lot of participation from the cricketers. And participation don't mean on the outfield. Participation means get them to talk and understand cricket and get them going into discussions about what they want to do as young cricketers and try to filter your experiences and some of the legends that are around Barbados, try to get them involved as well and helping to harness the talent and talk about cricket. So those are the areas in which you will have to get the buy-in from the board. And if we're going to put coaches in schools, then you have to go to the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Sports. You might have to also go to the National Sports Council and get those entities to buy into your concept. So it'll be one seamless transition. You don't want all the organizations pulling against each other. You want the organizations knowing that this is cricket and this is the chart that we are pathing for cricket and the development of cricketers, both male and female. So yes, the board has to buy into the concepts. If not, you're just going to be batting your head against the wall because you will get all your ideas knocked off before being getting the board.
We've probably seen, I think it's fair to say, a situation in the past where promises have not necessarily been met. And one could probably attribute that to some of what you're talking about, the failure to get the sort of buy-in that's necessary. And we all know, well, at least those of us who are involved in sports administration, how politics can really play a significant role. Have you thought through what you can do differently so that you can get that buy-in that you're talking about and that you can get a board, let's say, that is working towards the sort of vision that you believe is necessary?
Well, the key to success for any organization is having the board support, and that is down to the president, how he manages and work along with the board members. Everyone has their own personalities. Everyone might have their own aspirations. You'll be seeing it coming elections. They're sitting board members who are looking for a higher office. So those are things that you have to be cognizant of as well, where you could be sitting in the board with people and they want to sit in your seat. And that too can be a positive or negative. The positive for me is that if you want to sit in my seat, if I'm president, then you have to look to come better and do more than what I am doing. So it's to get up and go and do things. A president is of an organization to be established once people can realize that that person is doing what they said that they were going to do. So you got to walk the walk and talk. It's not about I don't deal with promises. A promise is a comfort of food. And if you're going to go there and promise people and then don't deliver, then you're not going to be doing anything for yourself or the association. If you go to I've attended the AGM, and if you hear all the problems that are surfacing, sometimes you ask yourself, well, why haven't these problems been addressed? Why can't we hear at the AGM, this has been signed off, this has been ratified, this has been completed? rather than things that have been festering for 10 and 12, 15 years. You don't want those things. You want to get rid of those things so that you can start your tenure knowing that, look, I'm going to implement systems. And once I can implement these systems and get to go ahead, then it's something that we can move forward to. It's about building Barbados cricket. It's not building the reputation of a Philo Wallace. I think it's building Barbados cricket to that point where people once again have to buy in and the welcome of cricket. You see, there's a lot of cricket being played around, well, not at this time, but when cricket is played, especially going to rural areas, people want to watch cricket. But when you come to the Kensington Oval, a lot of people come to Kensington because then there's that fear factor: am I going to get value for my money? Who's going to perform today? And these are the kind of things that the BCA needs to address to get the players to understand. Look, they've put you in systems and structures that develop you, and it's when you go there to perform or to play, you know that you're going to perform to your optimum. It's all about a process of getting these players to understand how important it is for them to buy into the structure. Also, the directors have to buy into it, and the directors will then sell that idea to the various committees. If you want to go to corporate Barbados, which you have to do, you have to be able to know that you're going into corporate Barbados, knowing that the board is with you and getting the buy-in for every member of that board. And also the members of the BCA, they also have to play a part. I think we also need to interact with them. Because not everyone that plays cricket have cricket ideas, and those who play cricket sometimes don't have any idea. They have to tap into every medium that can help you to bring ideas to the fore. Not you're going to use all, but you can take some of the best ideas and put them into a structured policy and a plan and use them, because we need to develop Barbados cricket to once to that area or that sort of standard where if you call upon a Barbadian cricketer, you know that he has what it takes to go there and perform. And when I say cricketer, I mean male and female, because we have to include the females as well in our developmental plan and our structures to cricket.
It's interesting that you touched on the female aspect because I plan to go there with you. But even before we get back to that, and I definitely want to hear you on that. So it's been a big talking point, as you are well aware, in cricket circles, the uh, women's cricket in Barbados and the West Indies. But I'm going to get back to the actual discussion on the systems that we have in place. Do you think maybe it is time that a team concept may need to come into play? Because yes, you have shared your plans to get that buy-in that you're talking about. But as I said, politics has a way of creating problems. And I'm not saying that with the team concept, you wouldn't have that. But if you go into a situation where you know that you start with the support of a team of people, as opposed to what happens now where you pretty much go in and whoever is there you got to work with. Do you think that you may be looking maybe in some way to possibly change the way that the organization is structured and how business is conducted moving forward?
Yeah, well, we have to go in first and see how the organization is run, how meetings. Obviously, you'll be the head, you conduct your meetings, but you got to look and see how the members, how those directors, what discussions do they have on certain topics and their behavior to certain topics and to one another. It's going to be, you have to just ease yourself into this situation. You don't want to go in there and push doors down right away. You want to ease the doors open and see what is inside of those doors or behind those doors. Then you can start to make your move. You want to make sure that when you put your footprint down, that the footprint is a sustainable and a manageable footprint. Obviously, there's a new CEO on board as well, Mr. Paul Skinner. You have to have discussions with him on what he expects or what he sees in the Barbados cricket or what he has planned for Barbados cricket and help taking it forward. Because he has to be the one that's going to drive what comes out of that boardroom. So he also has to have a buy-in to what is being discussed within that room and what you're looking for and expecting from the office to drive forward and then driving into schools, into the clubs, into the wider public, into the membership as well. So it's a whole all hands on deck. Yes, you might have to have a team, but you have to make sure that everyone in the team is a team player. Because sometimes you might have a team and one of those players are not working for you, and that could be the bad apple. So you need to make sure that all of the members of your team is on board fully and giving you full support. Because people think that when they offer support to people, that they no longer are the ones in the limelight. But if someone is supporting someone who's open-minded and fair, then they will get the accolades that are afforded to them. So it's not about me. It's about Barbados Cricket. It's about the Barbados Cricket Association Board of Directors putting cricket first and make sure that the drive is towards development of cricket across this country.
Well said, Philo. You talked about the situation where you need to get your CEO, discussions with your CEO. In other words, the persons who will lead the day-to-day work that is being done. Um, there are those who have said over the years that the BCA seems to be more heavily staffed than at any point in time in its history. And at the same time, they're not necessarily seeing the results of that, that full staff, so to speak. Any thoughts on how maybe those who work for the BCA could be utilized maybe more efficiently?
I think the thing is, I will ask, why is it happening? Because I'm hearing the same thing as well as you. Why is it happening? Why do you have a big complement of staff, but yet not a lot is being done? But if you go into the office and you speak to individuals, they will tell you opposite. So obviously, the CEO will be the person who will have to first address that issue, and then you will listen to what he has to say, and then take it from there. Because you don't want to have a situation where there's a lot to be done, but people are just doing what they're supposed to do and don't go outside their work calling. And so it's about getting to understand how the office functions, how the individuals in the office functions, and what are their job descriptions, how do they are their timelines, certain projects, and how do they see themselves as a value to the organization. When you're working in an organization as you have to see yourself as value, because Barbados Cricket Association cricket is a public good, and they're working for the betterment of Barbados cricket. And how the office operates sometimes dominoes into how certain things are happening within the cricketing arena. You will know we don't have fixtures for the entire 2025 season, which some things that have been addressed a long time ago. There's a break in cricket now for the last 5 or 6 weeks, and that's top flight cricket. There's no explanation to the members or the wider public as to why. These are things that need to be answered, because at the end of the day, it is cricket that people want to see on weekends. You'll have your breaks for your national event, which is all fine. But I think that it has to be played during those events so that people can continue to stay in the ready. Because soon for now, there's going to be CPL. So you want to know that guys are driving cricket forward. When the CPL comes around, they're into cricket. You don't want a fellow to say, I'm not attending that cricket because, one thing or the other. So you want guys to continue to play cricket. So when they get into the rhythm of playing, watch a game would not be so difficult. But these are things that need to be sorted from an administrative point of view, and also get the people to come forward and let themselves be seen and known. And you have to hear about people who work in the BC office. You don't hear a lot about them, and they'll tell you that they work very hard, and I don't doubt that they do. But you want to also get them to buy into the concept that they have a role to play and helping to develop the cricket product of Barbados across the various genders and divisions and age groups.
Philo, you talked about the membership, and I'm particularly thinking of two different types of memberships: the membership through clubs and the membership through individual membership. There may very well be other forms, as in any organization. But if you look at the club membership, I've always marveled at the fact that you go around, as you know, I'm at cricket every weekend and sometimes during the week as well. And over the years, I've heard complaints from clubs about certain ways in which the competition may be run. It might be a question of how someone is qualifies for the next round based on whatever. And it's like the same thing every year. And I've often wondered, don't the clubs have any input in terms of how competitions are run? So that's from the club aspect. From the membership aspect, now you alluded to the fact that you need to get the members involved. And having been a member myself for quite some time, I am curious as to how you can go about doing that because I'm not sure that it has ever really been done. As far as I know, the membership only come into play when it comes to tickets for certain competitions, and even that is something that I think needs to be looked at. But that's just my personal opinion. But apart from that, I don't think the members seem to be there simply to supply money to help run the cricket. So I think that those are two areas wrapped up in one in a sense. Membership. How can the members be better utilized and feel that they're actually contributing to the whole process? And why is it that the clubs seem to have the same problems year in, year out? And I think you get where I'm coming from.
But the clubs start with the last one. The clubs, if the clubs that say the same thing year in and year out about the competitions, that means there's something wrong with the competition. My question is, do the clubs meet with the BCA and how often do they meet? And at what stage before competition starts that they meet with the BCA? And you will go around to clubs and you will hear that, yes, we've met with the BCA, but nothing has come out. There's no feedback. All those are things that you need to find out if those things have happened or they're happening. Because I believe that if you're going to have a competition, like there's a 50 over competition that has started, and the BC has implemented the new ICC rule, where after 34, 35 overs, then the fielding captain chooses the ball. But that was never discussed at the beginning. And okay, something has been introduced in international cricket recently. So why can't the BCA not introduce it next year? Or do you have to change the rules at this juncture? There was also a competition, a T20 competition. I was watching a game, and the guys told me when they had the rules, the first set of rules, there was a semi-final, quarterfinals, semi-finals, and finals. And then the BCA sent out a notice said there are no quarterfinals. The teams will be determined the semi-finalists and the finalists. Those are issues that should have been discussed with the clubs. If you're going to change the rules, and you should not even have to change the rules when the competition started, but you should try to stick to the rules because people plan around rules. If a team realizes that a quarterfinal berth is there, they're going to put in the effort because at the quarterfinal stage, they know they're going to get a little change from the BCA. So they'll put in the effort. But if you're telling two teams there's no quarterfinals, they're just going to turn up and play the game. And then how you determine the semi-finalists, it doesn't matter to them. So you're driving the clubs away, you're driving the fans away. So these are things that need to be ironed out up front. We've never had these problems before in the BC where, rules have been changed and stuff like that. But I think discussions have to be had with the coaches, not the coaches, the clubs. Obviously, yes, the coaches from the clubs will be involved, and maybe the secretaries and maybe the presidents of the clubs of the cricketers to discuss how to get these rules simplified. And once they're implemented, those are the rules throughout the competition. You cannot change rules midway. Actually, the BCA membership, I know the only members feel that they only call upon when it's time for voting as well, Philip. When there's certain matches around, international matches, they are allocated a seat at Kensington Oval. I know that heard one of the candidates saying a free seat, but I think that if someone pays money to be a member of the BCA, the seat is not free. And if you've been given an honorary life membership of the BCA, that is not free. You've done something to earn that. So I think that the members need to be respected. They need I believe that we can also have a members evening where the members meet the various national teams. We have so many different national teams now, from the junior boys to the junior girls, to the franchise squads. I think the members need to have an evening with those members so they can acquaint themselves with them and discuss cricket. It doesn't have to be for 5 hours. A nice 2 hour session where the members can come to Kensington Oval. There's Herbert House just next door at Fountainville. There where cricket legends have a home. And you can sit there and discuss cricket and have a nice open discussion about cricket with those players. And I think that is something that needs to be done. We have victorious junior squads. Half of the BCA membership don't know the members of those teams, of those squads that went away and won West Indies competitions. These are things that the board should be looking at introducing the membership so that when they see a young person on the road, they can identify that person represented Barbados or represents Barbados at A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So those are things that we need to do. And also get the members because there are a lot of professional people in Barbados or members of the BCA, ask for their contributions in their area of expertise and try to use what they've recommended to better the organization and to better the whole outlook of cricket in Barbados. 8 or 10 people in the boardroom can't make all the decisions for Barbados cricket. Some of those decisions have to be made by people who are expertise in various areas of their profession.
Philo, I know that time is short and you're busy, especially at this time, but just a couple more things I really want to touch on. When I follow cricket, and I say I follow cricket, I'm not only talking about watching matches, but in the discussions around cricket and so on, and you know that I'm involved in some of them. Um, the current one basically has focus on the selection policy, how many selectors, who is it, things of that nature. And I'm not so sure that that's going to provide the solution. I think whoever is selecting a team or whatever number of selectors you have, if they're selecting from a pool that is not adequate, I don't think the outcome is going to be vastly different, certainly not on a consistent basis. So basically, I want to hear from you how you think that as president of DCA, you can impact what happens at West Indies level, if you can. And if so, how can one go about doing that? That's part of it. And the other part of it is, do you think enough focus is being put on the areas that really need focus, or do we spend too much time discussing just the trimmings?
I think we spend a lot of time discussing the trimmings. I think the meat of the matter needs to be discussed when it comes to cricket and hardcore facts and truth. And hardcore decisions have to be made. If you're going to make a decision to implement something that is in the betterment of West Indies cricket or Barbados cricket, you have to implement it. Not everybody's going to like what you're going to do. But if you know that what you're doing is for the betterment of cricket and for the players, then you don't have to worry. At WI level is a different kettle of fish. Obviously, when you become the BCM president, that person then goes to CWI as a director. No, if I'm successful in winning the president, becoming the president of the BCA, then I become a CWI director. I can't go and push open the door. I have to go and I have to sit among people who I go on a radio program on Tuesdays and sometimes I say some very serious things about West Indies cricket. You have to go in there to see how these guys are operating and what they're thinking and try to massage yourself into getting your ideas into their perspective. Because if you go in and look to push down the door one time, you might meet a brick wall. So it's about sensitizing yourself to how CWI operates and trying to change the mindset as a former Barbados captain, a former Barbados cricketer, a former West Indies player, trying to change the concept, the thinking concept of some of those directors at CWI, get them to understand to be more cricket focused instead of individual focus, try to be cricket focused, and try to have a harmonized way of doing things at the regional level. But CWI is a different kettle of fish. You know, we've heard the president of Kitchener Shallow many times. We know what is happening right now with West Indies cricket. We're not on that winning road. We've lost a couple of games. So those are all the things that you have to grapple with. Get to understand the thinking of the CWI board of directors and what are their focus on what they're looking to do in relation to West Indies cricket. But my focus should strictly be getting Barbados cricket back on the path of success. Not speaking the success of being the entity, the BCA being the entity that everyone looks up to and respect. I know some of the respect for the BCA has dwindled in the past years. You have to rebuild that. And that is something that I'll be looking to do, where people will see the Barbados Cricket Association as an institution where it is being run properly, professionally, and is conducting this business in a manner that you can stand up and be proud of. There's a lot of problems, but the problems can be fixed once you have the right people here to put their hands to the wheel and turn. You have not got into women's cricket, Philip, and jog your memory before time runs out. But I can tell you that women's cricket to me there's a passion for me of women's cricket because it has evolved over the years. And being away as well in the UK, I watch many women's games and you can see improvement year in and year out. And I think that within Barbados, we have to have the right structures to encourage young women to play cricket in the right way and in the proper manner as well. We have to get them to understand the game of cricket. I think what we're doing in Barbados is asking girls to come and play cricket without understanding cricket, understanding why you have to be fit, understanding why you have to grip a bat a certain way, your stance have to be this way, why you have to be fit in order to play this game called cricket. I think we have to start teaching the girls cricket And it can only start with a proper structure, with the right people involved in that structure and in that development stage. I think when you look at Barbados cricket, my thing about women's cricket is to get a director of women's cricket on board. I have a 3 or 4 member committee that reports directly to that director of cricket, and they have a budget for the budget to the board. I have a structured program for 2 years for women's cricket to develop the young women to standards that we expect, so that when they are called upon to represent West Indies or even a franchise, we know that we have players there who can represent us with distinct. You don't want to, young women who can hardly play a forward and they play a forward in the wrong way. They're afraid to catch the ball. They put their bodies in the wrong position to field the ball. They don't throw properly. All these are things that need to be ironed out at the developmental stages of young female cricketers. And they can only happen if you have a structured system. You have to find a home for women's cricket as well and get that home up to a quality standard so that when the ladies go down there, they know that they can go and practice in comfort without any hindrances and just enjoy themselves. I think in order for women to develop into decent cricketers, they have to understand and enjoy playing cricket. And they have to have the right people around them in order to bring all of these things into focus.
But Philo, yes, you certainly jumped ahead there. That was going to be my next question, but I like your initiative because that has been a big talking point. And just before you go, Philo, you go back to something you said earlier about members getting free seats, and I'm sure that's something that will not go down well with members and with those who may be thinking of becoming members. The idea of members getting free seats, of course, there's a membership fee. So you're quite right, it's not
Agreed.
free.
So it's
But
not
then
free.
apart from that though, why would the administration even have a problem? Because there are those who would argue that the freeness, quote unquote, is extended to them. And I think we've seen debates over the years and information and research showing the amount of money spent on catering and things of that nature. And I think there are those who would even argue that many of those catered to are not necessarily those who are contributing on a regular basis to the cricket. So I think the whole idea of selling the members short, if you will, it shows a mentality that is not wholesome.
I agree because when I heard it, I was surprised because I'm a member of Surrey and I have a seat. I pay for that seat and nobody sits in that seat. I could go to the Oval and that seat will be vacant. That is my seat because I paid for it. And if someone is a member of the BC and they paid for a seat, despite what cricket is being played, they should have the seat. And that is as simple as I see it. Because when you go to, if I leave Lords, if I leave the Oval and I go to Lords, I have to go and sit in another seat. I don't have a seat at Lords. I have a seat at the Kia Oval because I pay for it every year. I pay for BCA membership every year as well. I'm not an honorary member of the BCA. I don't get anything free. I don't even get sometimes I don't get invitation to the President's Suite as a former Barbados captain and West Indies cricketer. If I go to the President's Suite, it's maybe to just say hello to someone and I leave because sometimes I don't have an invitation. And these are things that bothers me because at the end of the day, you have people who are making significant contributions to Barbados and West Indies cricket. And they have people over there every weekend who are making contributions to Barbados cricket. And I think that somewhere down the road, the BCA should have the decency to say, excuse me, sir, I'll send you an invitation to sit and watch XYZ or attend ABC. And it makes that person feel a part of the organization. You will see people sitting and you want to know it. I didn't even know that person watches cricket or likes cricket, but they're there. And the person who is in the trenches, they're not there. They're not given that cushion to come and have a good dialogue with people of stature. But I think that these are things that need to be revisited by the BCA and get to understand that those who are out there pushing the idea of cricket, pushing people to support Barbados cricket, they should be the ones who should benefit from the Barbados Cricket Association more than anyone else.
I certainly would not want to be accused of getting in the way of your campaigning, Philo Wallace. So, thanks for joining us. And it's certainly always a pleasure talking cricket with you.
Thank you very much, Philip, and all the very best.
The best to you as well.
Thank you.